Hello, everybody. Today we are here again going over a newly uncovered angle of the Renee Good killing by ICE agent Jonathan Ross. I'm just going to give you my 2 cents before we watch this so I don't have to talk through the video. To begin, you will see the agent step out of his vehicle, circle the car, and then walk back in front of it as it starts to move more. Even now, in the beginning, you will see that the car is parked when he first is in front of it. Then she starts to reverse. Based off the video, you really can't infer why she may have been reversing, but my guess is that maybe she was giving the agent more space to walk around her in the front. Maybe she was backing up because, this is about the time that the other trucks pass her and drive in front of her. And in the previous video, you see her wave about 5 times for them to go in front of her. Renee herself seems to be very calm and soft-spoken, telling the agent repeatedly that she is not mad at them. It's her partner that appears to be the more antagonistic one, and she does a decent job, in my opinion, of telling them that they are citizens, though, and that is important because, remember, ICE does not have authority to detain U.S. citizens. There are some other points that I will bring up at the end of this video that I think are extremely important, so please stick around. Let's dive into this. And, this is a 47-second clip. So within under a minute from this agent stepping out of his vehicle, she is dead. And I think that says a lot in and of itself. And then one final thing is recently it's been uncovered that Agent Ross apparently has an immigrant Filipino wife. Make of that what you will. I certainly think it's worth noting.
Talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen. You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Okay. Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Okay. That is disturbing to say the least. Just like last time, we're going to slow it down. Car seems parked. Then it starts to move. You can see her turning the wheel, very intentionally trying to back away from the agent. She seems completely chill. Dog in the car. To me, if you got your wife there, your dog in the car, you're talking that calmly. To me, that doesn't seem like someone with a malicious intent to run over an agent. I'm sorry, if I was a part of that jury, you'd have a very hard time convincing me of anything else. She's not an aggressive person. Her partner, on the other hand, sure, but her partner was just there filming out of the vehicle. You get every right to do that, and by all means, heckle whoever. If you're a public servant, you're gonna get heckled. It's part of the job. It's to be expected. This right here, though, very clear view of her Missouri license plate. And this right here is the crux of one of my main arguments, which is simply that since these guys don't have the authority to detain a U.S. citizen, all you gotta do is submit this footage of her vehicle and her plates to the local police department with a little write-up saying, hey, we think this person was obstructing us from doing our duty, yada, yada, yada. The local PD, who has jurisdiction to go round her up and detain her, will then probably go do that if they think there is probable cause. That's it. He circled the car once. He could have gotten back in his car and just let it be. No one had to die.
Waits every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen.
I can't make out everything she's saying. Former something?
I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy.
Okay, that's funny, I'll admit it. Here's the get out of the car. Okay, right here. And when they were saying get out of the car, it was around the same time she was saying to go around and was waving them. So this is the entire opposite angle as the other video, the passenger side, because from the driver's side, you could see that she was motioning them by, again, about 5 times that we saw in the video, perhaps more. So right here is when we really don't see the agent in the other video until he's really peeked around, went around her blind side. As you can see right in the video too, her head appears to be turned. She doesn't see the other agent. Turns around. She would have seen him right about here when she was already moving the vehicle. In my opinion, that should have been enough indication for the agent to say, hey, she's clearly trying to move. Maybe she's trying to park. Maybe she is trying to get out of the way so she's not just pulled over in the middle of traffic. You know, if you get pulled over on the interstate, for instance, you don't just stop in the middle of the interstate, do you? You pull over in a safe location and, you know, conduct your search, conduct your whatever business have you. There's the partner. Looks like she's kicking it into drive. Yep. So to me, it doesn't sound like a camera rubbed up against the vehicle or anything. I feel like you would hear that on the mic. You know, I've got a camera. I've got several GoPros, and trust me, when you're out using them, you can hear it scrape against anything on the mic. I hear the gunshots for certain. It doesn't really look like he got hit by the car as much as he braced himself against it. But the big issue with that is it really does seem like he was almost wanting that. And now, why would I say an officer would want to be hit by a car? Well, here's why I wanted you to stick around. This is a pretty important report. This is an NPR article from May 31st, 2014, titled Border Patrol Releases New Use of Force Guidelines Critical Report. After first balking at the suggestion, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has now released a critical report of how its officers use deadly force in the case of rock throwers and moving vehicles. That's why we're here. The agency also unveiled an updated handbook that incorporates many of the recommendations issued by the law enforcement panel. If you remember last year, the agency declined to change its use of force policy using the recommendations because they were very restrictive. The agency also refused to make public the findings of the Police Executive Research Forum report. In a turnaround on Friday, CBP Commissioner said the release is part of the agency's new emphasis on transparency. If you want to pause this and read this, go for it. Not much here. Go to the article. I'll put the link in the video description. But the meat and potatoes is right here. Perf's recommendation on shooting at vehicles. Shooting at vehicles. 15 cases were reviewed where shots were fired at or into vehicles by CBP agents. Not ICE, but under the same umbrella. Observations. Based on a review of the submitted cases, it appears the CBP practice allows shooting at the driver of any suspect vehicle that comes in the direction of agents. It is suspected that in many vehicle shooting cases, the subject driver was attempting to flee from the agents who intentionally put themselves into the exit path of the vehicle, thereby exposing themselves to additional risk and creating justification for the use of deadly force. In most of these cases, the agents have stated that they were shooting at the driver of a vehicle that was coming at them and posing an imminent threat to their life. In some cases, passengers were struck by agents' gunfire. Little focus has been placed on defensive tactics that could have been used by shooting agents, such as getting out of the way. It should be recognized that a half-ounce 200-grain bullet is unlikely to stop a 4,000-pound moving vehicle, and if the driver of the approaching vehicle is disabled by a bullet, the vehicle will become a totally unguided threat. We literally saw that in the Renee Good, because the vehicle then just barreled towards the other cars on the street because there was a corpse on the gas pedal. And we've seen other examples of that all the time when people have a heart attack while driving, etc., etc. Obviously, shooting at a moving vehicle can pose a risk to bystanders, including other agents. The cases suggest that some of the shots at suspect vehicles are taken out of frustration when agents who are on foot have no other way of detaining suspects who are fleeing in a vehicle. Most reviewed cases involved non-violent suspects who posed no threat other than a moving vehicle. That seems like Renee, does it not? There is little doubt that the safest course for an agent faced with an oncoming vehicle is to get out of the way of the vehicle. In bold, CBP policy should be: agents shall not discharge their firearms at or from a moving vehicle unless deadly physical force is being used against the police officer or another person present by means other than a moving vehicle. Training and policy changes should be implemented to implement this policy. Here are the changes that were detailed. So, I'd like to just pause for a second and let you all digest that. I think it's a fairly important thing, and it shows that perhaps it is a strategy of various agents to put themselves in danger, to have justification to nullify the perp, their target, whoever, however you want to word it. And it says that same allegation right here. That is very disturbing to say the least. Now, another thing that I see conveniently left out is Barnes v. Felix, a 2025 Supreme Court case that reaffirmed the totality of the circumstances test for evaluating excessive force claims under the Fourth Amendment, previously established in Tennessee versus Garner. Writing for a unanimous court, Associate Justice Elena Kagan, hopefully I'm saying the name right, rejected a moment of the threat test used by some of the circuit courts as excessively narrow within the scope of the Fourth Amendment. So you can pause and read the relevant background here. I'll read a little bit just so you understand why it relates to Renee Good. We had Ashton Barnes driving a Toyota Corolla on the Sam Houston Tollway in Houston, Texas. I believe I've been there. When he was pulled over by Roberto Felix Jr., a traffic enforcement officer from Harris County, due to an unpaid toll connected to the car. Barnes did not know about unpaid tolls on the rental car. When asked, Barnes could not show a driver's license nor proof of insurance. He told Felix that it may be in the trunk of the car. Barnes opened the trunk without getting out of the car, turned off the car engine, and removed the keys from the ignition. Felix later claimed to have smelled marijuana, which is illegal for recreational use in Texas. No trace of drugs were ever found in the car, nor on Barnes. Interesting. After the shooting, a firearm was recovered from the glove compartment of the car. Felix ordered Barnes to exit the vehicle and pulled out his gun. Barnes opened the driver's side door without exiting the vehicle, and the car's left blinker turned on. Felix pointed his guns at Barnes, shouted, "Don't fucking move," and stepped onto the car's door sill as it began to move forward with the door still open. Felix fired 2 shots. Barnes was pronounced dead at the scene. Felix had been a police officer since '04 and was involved in another fatal shooting in '07. He was not disciplined for Barnes' killing. So that's the relevant background here. And frankly, that situation seems just as bad as the Renee one. Not that we're comparing tragedies here. They're all tragic. Anyways, now that we know that a case like this exists, I think this might change a lot of people's opinions about the matter at hand. Let me know what you think. I think this Barnes v. Felix and the Border Patrol use of force guideline changes paint a very different picture than we're seeing out of the current administration that is essentially trying to twist the narrative. I'll put it that way. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, keep everything respectful or I'll delete your comments. Like, share, and sub for more info. And if you're wondering who I am, I'm a Minnesotan. So this is in my backyard and very near and dear to my heart. Have a good day.